Developments across different papers, national dailies here is what we're going to be looking at. Welcome back if you're just joining. This is Daybreak on Trust Television. And this is the newspaper review segment of the program. As is customary, of course, I have a copy of the Daily Trust with me. So let's take a look at the front page of the Daily Trust this morning. Atop the page says North Central members insist on APC chairmanship. Besides that, we see Kano water contract scam. 3 local government chairmen in agency's custody. National Hospital plans VIP section for presidents. Lead story says Kaduna villagers accuse soldiers of killing 3 persons, 100 cows. Demand compensation. Army chief orders investigation. And also we see on the belt curfew in Sokoto community as youth protest killing of district head. Unfortunate situation there. You can read more on page 6. Chinese firm seizes another Nigeria's jet in Canada. I hear it's a Bombardier 6000, but read more of that story on page 7. Also, Israeli forces kill 42 Palestinians in fresh attacks. And finally, how NTA driver was stabbed to death in Abuja. And these are some of the stories on the front page of the Daily Trust. We now go to the Vanguard newspaper. Lead story on the Vanguard says end bad governance, release detained protesters now. On Ayekon, Ariwa Youth CSOs. Also, atop the page we see on the belt Nigeria's trade surplus rises 145% to 8.26 billion naira. Of course, the question on the minds of every Nigerian is, how does it reduce the price of commodities in the market? State House 2025 budget will be on actual requirements, is what this story says. Pay rise, NBA asks judges to revive public trust. And on Ajero's police summons, Obi cautions federal government as Nupeng puts oil workers on red alert. These are some of the stories on the Vanguard. We now go to the Nation newspaper where the lead story says no room for subversive moves, says federal government. Atop the page, Minister ASU to meet Monday over strike threats. Beside that, we see Budget 2025 to focus on essential project. Target is full funding. Let's hope that works. Also, ongoing road works will be completed, says Umahi. 51% of farming areas threatened by flooding. And we see a pictorial there which states First Lady gives 1.85 billion naira grant to 37,000 women and petty traders. These are the stories on the front page of the Nation. Let's now go to the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper has a very glaring pictorial of humanitarian funding, with the lead story saying insurgency in northeast, thousands in dire straits as supports dry up in border towns. Another story says FG fumes as terrorists kill 12, abduct minors in Niger. And the CJN, tinubu to swear in Kekereekun as Ariwola retires. Court discharges 6 end-SARS protesters after 4 years. And beside that, we see don't destroy PDP. Dele Momodu warns as party's crisis worsens. That story is on the news page 6. And below that, Owando completes $783 million Ajib acquisition deal. Knocks for immigration over passport fee hike rather. Omole launches foundation to promote ethical standards. And finally, Chinese firm continues seizure spree with another Nigerian jet in Canada. These are the stories on the front page of The Guardian. And now we go to the Nigerian News Direct, where top of the page says Ogun pays 100 million naira to 86 retirees. 4 things you didn't know about soon-to-be sworn-in CJN Kekereekun. This is for those who want to know more about the soon-to-be sworn-in Chief Justice of Nigeria. Lead story says, again, Chinese firm takes over another Nigerian jet in Canada. Well, these are some of the stories that are captured on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. And finally, Friday leadership. Lead story says, Northern elders fret over kidnap, killing of monarchs, condemn murder of Serkin Gobir. Situation worrisome, says Abbas, Governor Aliyu. North must find solution to insecurity now, says Shehu Sani. And of course, on the belt, we see National Hospital plans world-class healthcare delivery. Other stories say Emir of Ilorin lauds Abdurazak's leadership style. Chinese firm seizes another Nigeria's jet in Canada. These are some of the stories on the front page of the leadership. And very quickly, we now go to, of course, the conversation. I have in the studio with me the editor of the 21st Century Chronicle, Father Nuruddin Abdullah, who joins me to share perspectives and do analysis on the newspapers. Good morning, Ma'am Nuruddin.
Good morning, Master.
Yes, so quite a number of developments, but perhaps I should start by asking for your take on the story that broke late yesterday, the killing of the Serkin Gobir. A video came out, first of all, where we saw him beg for help and assistance. And now this is the development. What comes to mind?
I think it's another it's a new chapter, in the banditry that has been ravaging the northwest, part of north central part of the country. I think the bandits have taken it to another level. You understand?
Are you talking about their emboldenment? How emboldened?
Yeah, apparently. And look how they did it. The monarch was humiliated. The 76-year-old man, chained with blood everywhere. You understand? And his son was being beaten mercilessly when he was filmed. And look at what he said. He wasn't the first monarch to be abducted. You remember the last one we had was from Taraba. He was a monarch. He was begging. So to look at the level of debasement, these are community leaders that various communities, particularly in this part of the country, hold in high esteem. Serkin Gobir was more than the Sultan of Sokoto before 1804. You can say that Gobir was like the headquarters of the House of land, you understand? It spread up to current Niger Republic and whatever. But look at how the man ended. So, my take is this: enough needs to be done. The security agencies have started some time back, but it seems that they have slowed down. They have actually slowed down. People ask questions. If you look at all the various interventions, the tapes, somebody mentioned it. Bello Turji, who was more notorious from that axis, lives in a village less than 3 kilometers from Shinkapi. Is it Fakai or whatever? Halilu Subuhu, the locals knew where this guy lives. And that brought to question the issue of even negotiating with them. Who are you negotiating with? It's not like Boko Haram, that they have leadership and you actually know their demands.
There's a structure.
There are multiples of them, hundreds camps, different camps. And so the issue is simple. The security agencies must devise a measure that will eradicate this thing once and for all. They are still using now MTN, NIN, SIM, linkage, and whatever. These people are still calling with their phones. and nobody to track them. Okay, maybe Nigerian state has no reconnaissance drone. Does it cost billions of dollars to keep a drone up for 24 hours? What's the difficulty? These people we know, again, yes, maybe they will be afraid of what they call collateral damage. These people live in bush. Most of the forests were deserted because of the terror inflicted on the communities by these bandit kingpins. But so you begin to question, what is exactly happening? We are lamenting now. Do we know who is next? Nobody knows. In Hausa, they will say that, okay, they have tested the waters. They can now execute, just like actual terror groups. I'm talking about Al-Qaeda, that they slaughter their victims, like videos or something like that.
So, editor, what do you think might be the overarching consequences of these, what we've seen? Because one would expect that if there is a crime committed, that crime should be meted with equal sanctions. And this has happened. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. What comes to mind?
Yeah. You're talking about consequences. Because there are no consequences. The security architecture, I'm talking about the military, the DSS, then the police, as we know them, they should have schedule. Nobody was fired. We know nobody can resign. If the entire country can collapse, public officials will not resign. But they should be fired. What is the IG doing? There should be a police detachment, some military platoons in Sabon Birni, Isa. Accuse. What are they doing? Simply because there are no consequences. And maybe with the Nigerian thing, maybe, someone in Abuja that you have been deployed to that. So whatever you do, merit has been relegated to the background. That's how I think. If you are a bank manager, for instance, you are on a target. If you cannot meet the target, if the branch cannot meet it's shut down. From the security at the gate to the manager, sacked. But government appointment, public officials don't think that way. And that's why this lack of consequences is a problem.
Editor, why Nigerians continue to face this, do I call it embarrassing situation internally? It seems like the embarrassment on the international scene is taking a different dimension. I mean, it was Paris, France earlier. Now we're hearing Canada. Another jet has been seized.
I don't know. You understand? This in the last 1 year. When I say ECOWAS, I mean Nigeria. Nigeria participated fully in Liberia and Sierra Leone. You remember the ECOMON days, without even the intervention of the UN. But look at it now. We are now sort of a banana republic. Look at Niger Republic. Yesterday in the night, I saw one video of one cleric mocking us. From the ECOWAS mismanagement of the Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso issue, now to even, to the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. I saw him with a statement saying that subnationals, talking about the state, should be consulting the foreign ministry when getting into this international deals. But PAID was not done by any state. Mambila
was not a state
matter, it's a federal matter. Nobody was punished for embarrassing the country by signing all manner of crooked deals with those companies because of Mambila. PAID because the guy is a foreigner, and what if he may be. And look at it now. It means that we have to look inward. what happened with the Ogun, now the federal government is blaming Ogun. It's normal everywhere. The only difference is this is a foreign firm. I know they want to exert themselves.
So, I read a piece where the writer of the piece, the column, had accused the federal government of trying to remove itself from the situation, knowing fully well that it was responsible for commencing bilateral relationships between Nigeria and other countries. So it cannot remove itself from the situation because the onus of observing and ensuring that these bilateral relationships are productive, not just to Nigeria, but to Nigerians, rest.
They are the guarantor. When Obasanjo came, before Obasanjo came, even local government chairman were taking foreign loans. Katsi Ekwenjo, they made some amendment. And that is why any foreign loan now by any subnational must come through the federal ministry, the National Assembly. And the fiat, the powers arrogated to governors is the problem. This is a contract signed between the state and the federal. But simply because you are fighting your predecessor, you'll stop funding it. And in the case of Ogun, you will arbitrarily cancel it. But they have safety valves in London, US, and Paris. There are arbitration panels. We did the same thing in PID.
Indeed.
So we have to actually look inward. A governor will say this, he will come to a project site, abandon, blah, blah. A contractor cannot just abandon a site. How many contractors were giving money and they fled? No, it is because the government has refused to fund the project. The governance in Nigeria is no longer a continuum like it used to be. You come, you are APC, he is PDP, so anything he does is bad. Currently, look at the Abuja-Kaduna road. For how many years? Honorable Minister of Works is saying that they don't have the 1 trillion to complete it. But they are initiating 16 trillion naira business, coastal whatever. Now, instead of finishing this one, they are initiating another one from Sokoto. A former driver who understands the road, he took a pen. That so-called coastal road from Sokoto to Lagos can only pass through Ibadan. All the areas, particularly in the north, Sokoto, Tambara, Otapi, are bandit infested as we speak now. Why can't you pick the normal one from Mekera down to Makwa, down to Kaduna, so that you link up? So the whole thing is political. Umahi is saying that he doesn't have the 1 trillion to complete the Abuja-Kaduna highway, but they are initiating 15.6 trillion naira coastal road.
Well, while all of this is going on, editor, perhaps Nigerians would have a reason to relax again because it's seeming like our VIPs might, in the next few months, no longer be traveling out for medical treatment because the National Hospital is now planning to build a VIP wing for presidents and other VIPs who would usually travel out for treatment. I mean, how does that make you feel?
So you have been carried away already?
Well, I'm not carried away, but I'm saying maybe Nigerians would save more money now, and Nigeria would save more, because they won't travel again. I mean, the headline on the Daily Trust, perhaps the technical crew could bring up the Daily Trust again, so we read it out. It says National Hospital plans VIP section for presidents. So, I mean, we should celebrate, right?
That's very funny. Okay, is Akpabio doing a law to force them to do it? No.
Well, I think if they build it, we'll not talk about
one laws, CMD right? Somewhere, some permanent secretary and some director somewhere in the Ministry of Health wants money. They want to give our contract and get percentage. Simple.
So Nigerians,
it cannot happen. I'm not a pessimist. We had presidents that travel outside this country to treat a common air infection. The man take meat and there was something here to remove it. Instead of using it, he has to travel to London. And now we have a chief executive who travels to, nobody knows even where he stays in Paris. The other one we know it was an Abuja house in London. This one is Paris. Nobody even know the address.
Maybe it's Kaduna house in Paris.
So this thing is just civil service way of getting money.
So many issues.
Don't forget, we have a Sorok clinic. Do you know how much it was? Even this year, do you know the billions of budgeted? What is happening to it? Which is to be exclusive to the president, vice president, and their immediate families. Do they attend it? No. They want to go out. After all, that's why we are buying new jets. So that, it will ease the transportation and what have you.
Editor, so many things to talk about, so little time. Unfortunately, this is the much you can take on the program. Maybe next week, we'll see that they've completed the project.
When they do the bidding.
Always a pleasure having my
pleasure having you again. Thank you.
As editor at 21st Century Chronicle here on the program, doing analysis, of course, on some of the stories that made it to the front page. I do hope you enjoyed the program from the start of the program to this point. If you missed any part of the program, do well to follow us across all of our social platforms and catch our live stream on YouTube, where this program as well as other programs will be uploaded for your view. Thanks for watching and thanks for staying with us. Do have a lovely weekend. My name is Sagir Ibrahim, and up next is 360 Sports with Emmanuel Fashimi. Do stay.